New brushes, they smell amazing. It's so important when you invest in some decent brushes that you really look after them. So I'm going to show you how we look after our brushes with brush care from the day-to-day to the deep cleans, but I just want to show you a few little things of what not to do. Firstly, when you're handling them, and just to keep them in their optimal condition. So number one thing, this is the number one thing I see so many of y'all do. Let's just say you're doing a little bit of a powder moment, okay? Oh, shivers. There's too much powder on there. How am I going to get the powder off? I'm going to do a little tap, tap, tap. No, okay, let's just stop there, all right? Do not tap the brush on the side of your powder or on a table or on any hard surface. Just don't do it, doll. Okay, because what that's going to do is it's actually going to cause all this to chip, and it's going to just look rubbish, and then who knows what you could do if you tap it too much. This whole thing could fall off, right? So if you do get too much powder on your brush, like so, you need to tap it off. Tap it onto a soft surface like your hands, just like this. Little tap tap. That's it. Okay, you don't want to hear the tap. Okay, you don't want to hear the tap tap, tappity tap. You just want to do the tap on your hand. Okay, that's how you're going to keep these brushes looking super chic. So we're in my studio right now, and I'm going to show you how I look after my brushes, not only in the day-to-day, but also how I give my brushes a really thorough, deep clean, because that's super duper important. It's going to stop your makeup brushes from harboring bacteria, and we know that a lot of the times skin breakouts can actually come from our makeup brushes. So they can cause all sorts of infections like staph infections, other infections, breakouts, acne, all those sorts of things. So I have an array of products here. You could have some at home already, or maybe you need to go out and grab some of these things. There's some really simple things like your Pino Clean disinfectant wipes. They're really great, especially more so for makeup artists. You need to have some alcoholic or disinfectant wipes on you just to keep your kit really nice and clean. Then I've got things like, if you're real desperate, a little bit of an icy cold, but that's really the last resort, if I'm honest, when it comes to brush cleaning. And then I've got things like your Cinema Secrets brush cleanser, which is more of this is not a deep cleaner. These products are more on your day-to-day. Okay, so we're looking at just your day-to-day cleaning. A little bit of an alcohol spray from Napoleon Purtis. I love this one. Or a St. Jack makeup cleaning mist, which is also great for your brush care as well on the day-to-day. Okay, then I've got other things like deep cleansing products, which I love to use the TANIELLE J brush soap and cleansing pad. It's a really great soap. It smells lovely as well. And then the other thing I have is, this is my SARD stain remover soap. These are like $2, probably even less than that. A stain remover is really, really great because it gets rid of all those really stubborn stains in your brushes. I will say the TANIELLE J makeup brushes, they are white, however, they do clean really well. So even just with your soap. But if you've got a product in there that's just very dense and hard to get out, go for your SARD. The other thing I have here are some paper towels, because this is more so great for makeup artists when they're cleaning their brushes, or sometimes I just use a towel. But let me tell you a bit of a horror story, okay? Because one time I was at a wedding and I used my towel to clean my brushes. I sprayed the alcohol on the towel because that's what I usually do. It's better for the environment. It is way better for the environment because you can clean it. But guess what happened? I lift up the towel and the alcohol has gotten into the coating on the wooden table and it's lifted up the table's, what is it called? The polish? And so there's this big ass stain that's ruined. I tell you what, this is the longest table you've ever seen in your life. It was like, I don't know, a 12-foot table, and this one stain's just ruined it. So luckily, the owner was really lovely, and because I literally hyperventilated, and yeah, I did pay for that cleaning. It was a lot of money, but we won't talk about that. Don't do that on a wooden table. Avoid that mistake. It's a doozy. Let me show you how I like to clean my brushes on the day-to-day. So I'm going to take a paper towel, because let's just say this is, you know, I'm on a job. I'm going to take two little paper towels. I'm going to use the Napoleon one. This is probably my favorite. It's got a lovely lavender scent. Now, with makeup brushes, you want to be really careful, because especially say with the Tanielle J ones, these ones are painted. So painted here as well as this copper part as well. So alcohol is going to strip all the bacteria, but it can also strip paint. So you have to be really careful when we're cleaning a brush like this. All these beautiful colors, if you want to keep your brushes looking really aesthetic, then you want to make sure that your alcohol is really only touching the brush hairs, not the shaft of the brush. You don't want to get alcohol in this area. So sometimes, I mean, I've seen people, they spray the whole brush like that. No, okay? I did it just for you to see. That is just no good. First of all, the alcohol is going to get into all these areas. It's actually going to tear apart all the glue, seep down. Your brush is eventually going to fall apart. So you want to make sure you're spraying only on the tissue. Then I'm going to go back and forward. Don't do this one. No. Don't do that one. Okay, because what that's going to do is it's just going to make your brush a completely different shape. And you want to, care for these like you would a Louis Vuitton bag. You know, you want to be really, really gentle because you want your makeup brushes to last. So I'm going to go back and forward, and I'm just going to get rid of that color until I can't really see it anymore. Okay, it's not really coming out. Now, the brush has gotten to the point where most of the stain is gone. It's not completely gone. And that's okay, because the one thing I don't want to use is I don't want the alcohol cleaner to actually be my deep clean. That's what I use a soap for, to really get into the hairs and get rid of the stains. Don't use your alcohol sprays as a deep cleaner. They're very different things. These are used just to kill bacteria, to make the brushes clean again, but it's not really meant to be used to remove stains. So that's how I like to do it for all your brushes. You can get in there, do your little spray, back and forward. I find products from like the Napoleon one, the Cinema Secrets, and there's another one, Parry and Spritz, which is really beautiful. They all have really lovely scents. They are way more conditioning for your brushes. Ones that I have used in the past, something like the Scotty's Makeup. These ones are good. They're very, they're just basically alcohol. That's all their ingredients. I find they're not as conditioning for your brush hairs. And especially when you're working, you want your hairs to always feel really fluffy and conditioned. So that's where these sort of cleaners are really great for the hairs. They're not going to kind of over time kind of break down the hairs and make them really brittle. What we also have to remember is our brush hairs, a lot of the times, like say these little ones here, which is it's a natural hair, you would not spray alcohol on your hair continuously for 4 weeks every day. You wouldn't do that to your own hair because it's going to make your hairs brittle, it's going to snap. It's the same with our makeup brushes. If we are constantly using alcohols on the hairs without conditioning them, without really looking after them and giving them a really beautiful cleanse, then the condition of the hair is just not going to be optimal. It's going to really start to fall apart. So we really want to make sure that we look after the hairs like we would our own hair on our head, you know? So those are some of the things that I like to do when I'm cleaning my brushes in between my clients. Again, none of these ones. Don't do those ones, and certainly do not spray all over. When it comes to cleaning the handles of the brushes, I like to use one of these wipes and really get in there, because these are disinfectant wipes, but they're not super heavy with the alcohol, so it's not going to seep in. So your general daily cleans for a makeup artist should be happening after every single makeup that you do. You should not be using the same brushes on your clients, especially if they're dirty. Yeah, definitely not. Personally, I like to just have a brush set for each client. That way I'm just cleaning them, deep cleaning them in between each person. So that's what I like to do. But again, I know that not everyone can afford to have multiple brush sets. So a brush cleaner will do fine. That will be fine. And for those playing at home, a brush cleaner like an alcohol spray isn't always necessary. If you're deep cleaning it at least once a week, I would highly recommend, because any longer than that, the bacteria is just gonna start to harbor, especially for your cream products. Cream products, like your foundation brush, your cream powders, your cream blushes, your lips, anything like that should be deep cleaned at least once a week. So what I'm going to show you is a TANIELLE brush soap and cleansing pad. Now this one here, it comes with, a lot of people have thought this is a brow soap. It's not, it's a brush cleaner, and I wouldn't recommend to use it on your brows. But you get this little pad up the top here, and it's got all these little like indents, and it actually helps to break down the product on your brushes so that it's giving it a much deeper clean. You could just use your hand, but these little things, especially for like your liner brushes, it's just going to break down the product to really get rid of it. And then of course this one, it's a vanilla scent, and it just makes your brushes smell a little bit nicer after they've been cleaned. So what you want to do, definitely get over a sink. I find with cold water, it just doesn't break down the product as well, and it certainly doesn't remove the soap as well. So the water's got to be at a warmer temperature. So let's do it. You also want to have a towel down, ready to go to place your brushes, but I'm going to start with the base brush, okay? And I'm going to get in and just wet the hairs. It's really important you don't wet all this area here, because the water is going to seep down into the glue and tear up your brush. So we don't want to do that. So we're just going to get it in here. And you want to lather this soap up so it gets really nice and bubbly. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my little pad, and I'm going to get that water all through there. Really giving it a nice good scrub and letting that water just wash off the soap. And it's really important to get all that soap out of the brush. Okay, just give it a really good feel. If you can feel that there's some soap left in there, just get your fingers through and just get rid of that soap, because otherwise it's going to leave like residue on there. All right. That is cleaned off. Now what do we do with it? Okay, so you could just place it straight down. You want to just give it a good little wipe out. Just grab your towel and really kind of soak up the water. That's going to mean that it's going to dry a lot faster if you just let it. It's again the same with your hair. If you just let it drip dry, it's going to take a lot longer. You want to squeeze all that water out. It's almost dry now. Now, you could just rest it down if you like. Never place your brush upward, because again, all that water is going to seep down to the glue and break it all up. So you really need to make sure that the brush is laying flat. Now, with my brushes as well, not all brushes come with these, but you get some brush guards. It's for those brushes like your base and your powders. So it's really important to use these. Do not throw these out. These are really, really important. You're going to stick your brush in here. And what this is going to do is keep the brush shape, especially for, say, your powder brushes. So let me show you how we're going to do those ones. So here I have, this is the highlight brush, and it's got that beautiful little almond shape. So again, we're going to make sure that we use our little brush guards for those, but let's give it a bit of a clean for this one. Now this is a natural hair brush. So the stain is probably going to sink in a little bit more. So what I might need to use is something like a SARD stain remover, but the soap is going to remove most of it and give it a really nice condition, but the SARD is just going to really get it out. Let's have a look first. We might not need it, but we'll give it a go. When you're cleaning as well, you don't want to be doing those ones again either, because that's going to ruin the shape. We want to really just do little circles and just get rid of all that product. And then I'm kind of squeezing the soap out with the shape of the brush. I'm not getting in there and trying to change the shape. I just want to really be gentle. Now I can see there's a little bit of a stain in there, so I'm going to get in with my sard. It's just in here, and I'm going to wipe it up. And I'm just going to let it sit there for a few minutes just to let that stain remover kind of do its thing. So just on the side, I'll leave it just for maybe a minute or so and then get in there and do it. It's been a minute or so, so I'm just going to get in there and then just really get that stain off. And then just go back in with my soap again, just to give it another condition. And then I'm just going to squeeze all that water out. So important. And squeeze it out on the towel. I feel like I'm at play school right now. And then we're going to pop our little brush guard on. Again, if you were to dry this naturally, it's going to puff out, okay? So it's really important because it's got that beautiful almond shape. We pop that brush guard back on, it's going to dry in its place, and make sure you're going upward, you don't go over the hairs because that's just going to make them go everywhere. And face it down, and we can continue on those ones. So now we're going to clean my little lip brush. It's a lip diffuser and lip definer. Now, a lot of the times when I'm doing lips, I use glossier products, so sometimes it's harder for the soap to get in there and break it all down. So if needed, you can use a really nice natural dishwashing liquid, or even some of your oil cleansers, like your face oil cleansers. Because just think oil will remove oils, so you can use anything like that. But let's give it a go just by itself. Just with the soap. Again, I find the synthetic hairs are much easier to get any stains out of, and that's what this one is. Let's give it a little rub down. And that's come out really well. This side, however, it was a lot more dense, so I'm going to go in with my sard to really get rid of that stain. And just massage it in there. Just through all the hairs. And that's the same with, say, your cream buffer brush. Really get in and massage that stain remover in there so you can get every single hair. And just by pressing it in, it's kind of just remove that stain. That one's done. Just get rid of all that water and then lay it flat to dry.